Talk Radio.
Hey, welcome. Hey, my friends, welcome to the Gerard Williams Show. This is Gerard Williams. I'm your host and your executive producer. Hey, listen, boys and girls, on the line with me today, I've got an awesome friend of mine all the way from the Maryland, D.C. area. Dr. Stanley Butler is on the line with us, and he's going to share some information about his new book. And without further ado, my friends, I'm going to ask Dr. Butler, is he on the line? Dr. Butler, are you on the line, sir?
I am on the line.
Hey, great. Hey, man, listen, thank you, first of all, for calling in for us, and I appreciate you, and we want to go ahead and find out what's going on with you and your new book, and we want to just support you in any way that we can. And so without any more conversation from me, except, during the interview, tell us a little bit about you and tell us about the book that you just want to present to us.
Okay. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I do live in the Maryland, D.C. area now. The name of the book is Sometimes Man's Rejection is God's Protection. And basically the book covers different aspects of rejection that are common to most people. I wrote the book basically because I received a prophetic word back in 2006 that told me that I would write a book about rejection. And at that time, I just kind of set it on the shelf. But over time, life as a teacher, and as I began to learn some things and I began to realize and experience some things, I went on ahead with purpose to go ahead and write this book. So the book is out there, and it covers different aspects of rejection that are common to people. There's a chapter in the book that's called Investment, and that chapter is specifically about rejection by friends, and then we've got another chapter called Second Place Ribbons. It's for people who continually and consistently find themselves being pushed into second place by those that they love. Also, there's a book about spousal rejection. There's one about parental rejection. With This Ring I Regret talks about dealing with a mate who's rejecting you on some level. Then there's also a chapter that's specific to rejection by an employer, because there's a lot of people out there, whether you're Christian or non-Christian, that are trying to advance in their professional lives, but they're constantly being pushed down by a supervisor who doesn't particularly care for them. So the book covers different aspects of rejection, and it gives practical, biblical instructions as to how to deal with it. How to look at yourself through those situations, how to look at the person who's rejecting you, and how to go from being a rejected person to being one who's more than an overcomer.
Wow, Dr. Butler, listen, I am really excited. I mean, it seems as though you're covering the whole gamut of rejection, and you're saying that in each one of these chapters that you just mentioned, that there is biblical confirmation and biblical resources that they can tap into?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, man, that is fantastic. So let me back up a couple of steps, because we want to dive into some of those chapters that you just mentioned. But you said that, first of all, the title is Sometimes Man's Rejection is God's Protection. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. I know some of my listeners are already turning, and the first thing they're thinking about is, where can I get that book? Where can I get that particular book? So let me just go ahead. Usually I wait to the end to do that, but Dr. Butler, hey, listen, man, where can my listeners get this book right now?
It's available at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and at my website, m-stanleybutler.com.
Where did you get that? Usually when we have our show, I always admonish my listeners to go ahead and to make sure they have some writing material, that they have pencil and paper, pen, and whatever they need to go ahead and write down the information that we bring to them. And so, once again, it's at Barnes & Noble, you said, it's at Amazon, and it's at the website. So give us that website again.
m-stanleybutler.com. And it's available in paperback and ebook formats.
Even better. Even better. All right. So I know that question was better, and like I said, I normally wait till the end for that, but I'm excited about it. I don't want to wait and miss it. So you're an ordained minister, correct?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Okay.
I'm an ordained minister. I grew up in the Baptist church. I've been involved in several denominations, the Assemblies of God, Pentecostal. At this time, I'm non-denominational. But I do go forward as far as ministry. My purpose is to instruct church leadership as far as their purpose and how to go forward in this end time, seeking out the purpose and the will of God and living it, learning what worship is as a lifestyle, and really being an example of what it is that Christ spoke of as he walked the earth.
That is fantastic, brother. That is fantastic. Listen, I applaud you for your efforts and what you do in ministry, and I realize that this book is also an extension of your ministry, and I appreciate it. So let's do this. Let's go back into, first of all, how many chapters in your book?
There are 10 chapters.
Great. What's chapter 1? What's the title of chapter 1?
Chapter 1 is Gazing at My Reflection.
Okay, cool. What's chapter 2?
Chapter 2 is Investment.
Okay. Because I was looking for it to tell me what you were mentioning earlier, the rejection part of it, because I just want to kind of, I don't want them to not get the book because you're going to tell them too much. I just want a little bit to tease them about each chapter. So if there's something that in fact, you know what, let's do this. I know that when you offer a book, that you read the whole book, but there's a particular part of it or a particular passage of scripture, especially when it comes to the prophetic unction, that there's a particular thing that ministers to you and that you like it more than the rest of the book. Not just like the other parts of the list, it's just that this one here speaks to you as you are speaking to others through the written words. So I'm going to put you on the spot, sir, and just ask you, which part of your book resonates best in your spirit?
There's a chapter 9 is called God's Protection. And that particular chapter focuses on looking at what it is that we've gone through and the rejection that we've experienced and being able to see the hand of God even within those situations. We quote the scripture, Romans 8:28, that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And we quote that as a means of encouraging ourselves. But oftentimes that scripture doesn't become alive within us because we're not really connected to it. When we're able to see God's hand even in the midst of our circumstances, then we can begin to really walk out that scripture and realize that regardless of what it is that we go through, God has put an insurance policy upon our lives that's going to ensure that our circumstances work toward us fulfilling the purpose that he's put in us. That between life and death, the value of who we are really is determined by the purpose that God has already invested within us. And our work while we're here is to ensure that before we take that last breath, we fulfill that purpose. When I look at God's protection, that encourages me that regardless of how it is that I've messed up, because some circumstances we go through are initiated by the enemy, and some of the circumstances we go through are initiated by ourselves. But regardless of what it is that we go through, God has protected us, and he's protected the investment that he's placed within us, and he's going to make sure that he gets a return on that investment.
That's powerful stuff. That's powerful. Wow. And even as a pastor, I know that. But the way you said it, and the way I'm hearing it and expressing it in my mind, that is profound. Wow. First of all, thank you first of all for writing the book. And thank you for bringing some. I said thank you first of all for writing the book, and then for the clarity that you're bringing. It's phenomenal. So, to my listeners, based on what you just I recommend it, and I am wholeheartedly asking you to support Dr. Butler and to make sure that this book moves off the shelf. So, having said that to you all, Dr. Butler, hey, listen. Tell us a little bit more about the book. I'm intrigued.
Okay. One aspect of the book, there is a chapter in the book called "The Lost Coin in the House," and a lost coin in the house is about rejection by pastors and spiritual leadership. Through my years in ministry, I've seen repeatedly where there are people. There are those who love God and they consider their service to the church and to the pastor as their means of working out their soul salvation. So a lot of times they're looking for affirmation and confirmation from their spiritual leadership. And that's largely because a lot of the people within the church don't receive that affirmation and confirmation within their personal lives. So because they receive it within their spiritual circles, they wholeheartedly throw their time, their talent, their resources into the ministries that they're involved with. And there's nothing wrong with that. What oftentimes happens to a lot of people within the church is they are then kind of placed on the shelf like a vessel that's there to be looked at but not necessarily used. And so as they mature and they grow and they feel the unction to go forward in ministry, sometimes they are hindered from doing so. And so basically they become like the lost coin in the house. They're present, but they're looked over by church leadership and laity alike. So my book is there to encourage them so that they can realize where they are in their life, where they are in their ministry, and that they can move beyond that and still walk in obedience to what it is that God has told them to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man. That sounds excellent. Excellent.
Thank you.
Man, I'm just getting, I'm sitting here listening to you, getting fed, and it's not churchy, it's not preachy, it is just right on the money. It's right on point. And you can't ask for anything to minister to a person better than that.
Wow. That's correct. The book is not really a churchy book. It is a book that is meant to minister. I believe in the practicality of ministry. So, I mean, there's a lot of scriptures in there, and it gives guidance, it gives instruction, it gives encouragement. But you're not going to walk away feeling like you're reading a Bible study. It is meant and is designed to become a practical tool so that you can go back to it over and over again, and you can receive the encouragement you need so that you can make that next step toward overcoming what it is that you've been going through.
And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Well, listen, boys and girls, once again, you can purchase the book at Amazon.com. You can get it at BarnesandNoble.com or the brick and mortar store. You can go to dr-m-stanleybutler.com and pick it up there. And you can do that as soon as we get off the call. So don't leave us yet. Just put that down on your list of things that you got to do today. All right. Dr. Butler, I think that we've come to the end of our interview. Before I close out with you, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience? Or let me do this before I do that. If there was someone who was questioning whether or not they could buy this book or not buy it, and you had the final word on their decision, what would you tell them that they would do to move forward to buy this book? How would you handle that? What would you say to them?
I would tell them this book is meant for anyone who has experienced rejection in their lives. Everyone, and my experience is that everyone experiences some sort of rejection. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are, it doesn't matter how smart you are. There's somebody who does not necessarily appreciate your type of beauty or your type of knowledge. Rejection does not discriminate. So if you've experienced rejection and you want a means of overcoming it, and you want to seek out God's guidance and working through those things, this is the book for you.
All right. That sounds good, man. All right, now, any final words?
Well, I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you and your audience. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, the privilege and the pleasure has been mine, sir. I thank you very much for being with us today, and certainly applaud you for what you're doing. Applaud your efforts. Any new books on the horizon, or you just standing pat with us right now?
I'm promoting this one right now. I do have another book that's coming out next spring.
All right. Hey, well, listen. We're here for you now. We're going to be here then. And if you just want to go ahead and have a shout out with some of the listeners, call me anytime. Talk to AJ, to my good friend AJ, and tell him, hey, set up another call. I'm going to send AJ some information, and we're going to go ahead and do this a little bit differently than we did it this time. But listen, I'm going to support you. Anytime you want to be a featured guest on the Gerard Williams Show, listen, you are welcome. I tell you. All right.
I appreciate that.
My pleasure. All right, boys and girls, listen, you've been listening to the Gerard Williams Show. Our special guest today has been Dr. Stanley Butler, the author of Sometimes Man's Rejection is God's Protection, a book that's out now, ready for you to pick up at any time. Pick it up at your leisure. All right. Having said that, boys and girls, that's our show for today. And as always, I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye now.
If you're talking about it, it's because we're talking about it. The Gerard Williams Show.